Hey folks, I decided to do this vid because I received a comment on one of the last ones about what one should be cooking for Valentine's Day. Well, it's entirely up to what you want to cook. But I had an interesting question about steak and what to do with it. Now, I'm actually making steak tonight for supper, so I decided to actually show it to you guys what you might want to have along with it. If you're looking for a drink to go along with it, an alcoholic beverage, well, that's entirely up to you. Myself, I go with a nice semi-sweet dark wine, red wine. Zinfandel for me actually works well with a nice rosé wine. Beer, well, I've got my own maritime made blueberry beer from the Pump House Brewery here in Moncton, New Brunswick, so I usually have that. Although for Americans or those that have it available, lime-based beers actually taste good with meat dishes. As to what you can have, well, here's something for you, and I hope that you'll enjoy it. It's based on the meal that I'm actually creating, and we'll take it from there. Now first, you'll want to actually use seasoning on your steak. Here I have veal steak slices, and I got a tenderized steak. I'm actually cooking for my lunch tomorrow at the same time as I'm cooking for supper tonight. And you see an onion. I'll be using avocado, but not cooking it. I'm actually just going to put it on top of my steak. It actually helps digestion. It's very good for you, and it actually enhances the flavor too of any spices. If you add anything very, very hot, it actually helps you in managing the heat from anything that you're actually doing. For that, you'll need a pan. I've got collard greens, fresh from the supermarket. And I'm going to be using pretty much, not the whole thing tonight, but a good bunch is going to go in. When I cook them, I usually cook the whole foot. Okay. Usually I just chop it here, take off the harder bits, and I chop it into segments, and I put everything to boil with a favorite seasoning, salt, pepper, you name it. Some people have it done differently, some don't. And I've got a pot of water ready for my potatoes. I'm going to be boiling red island potatoes, mashing them, creating a nice mash. Now you can do a nice garlic mashed potato recipe if you actually buy a clove of garlic and put it in the oven to caramelize it. I unfortunately don't know how to do it myself, but if you Google it, you should be able to find how to do it. You buy a whole bulb, and you just chop the top off, and there you go. You put oil all over the top so that it gets into the actual garlic, coats it, and then you cook it at slow heat. I've had similar results while caramelizing onions in the oven using an oven made pan for it. So now, without further ado, into the darkness of the cubbyhole for potatoes. Now, how many potatoes you want or how you want them done is entirely up to you. Me, I take the skins off because when you mash this, I've tried it. Trust me, it doesn't taste good. Certain types of potatoes, it tastes better. They call smashed potatoes. I'll make 6 of these. Put this away. And if you're wondering why I have water, distilled water, I prefer drinking that than the chlorinated water that we have here in the city. Not to say that the chlorinated water is something bad, but the less chemicals you put in your body, the better your body feels. So I'll need a few moments to actually prepare the ingredients, chop my onion, prepare my avocado for supper, chop up my collard greens, but we'll be back to show you guys how to actually do it. Oh, and you will need The oil of your choice is entirely up to you, but for cooking my meat, I use sesame oil. And sesame oil, it has 1.5 grams of saturated fat. It's 8% fat, but it adds such a nice flavor to meat. So, go get your ingredients, prep them, and we're going to be in the next part, not too far from now. Now, I'm sorry for the background noise. I decided to open the radio so I could keep myself entertained while I was preparing this cooking. Right now I've got all the ingredients except my collards cut, I've got my onions cut, my potatoes are already on the boil, or heating up anyways. I wanted to take this time to give you guys recommendations of desserts. You can have desserts if you wish to have desserts. You can buy them over at the local supermarket. If anyone's actually from the Maritimes, look up the President's Choice desserts that they already have prepared. One that I actually enjoyed when I was eating it was the chocolate mint pie. It's actually delicious. It's partially cream and partially cream cheese. It's really rich, but it finishes a meal in a nice way. Not to mention that mint helps to digest. But if you want to look up a dessert that's not too heavy, it's actually quite heavy because it has oatmeal in it. But it's not rich in the sense that you'll be bogged down in cream. Look up my apple crisp recipe that I have on my blogs. And you can do that. You can top it once you serve your portion to you and your mate, your wife, your husband, your better half, your life partner. You can easily top it with real whipped cream, Dream Whip, and any whipped cream replacements that you use. Whipped soy is actually, and I have to admit this, quite delicious if well done. Or a low sodium ice cream of your choosing. There's no salt in the recipe, so you can use, actually don't worry about the sodium. If you're not eating a salt lick, you should be fine. But you should be able to use chocolate ice cream. It's maybe overly rich. You might want to use a chocolate chip ice cream. But I think that this combination actually fits the bill better. A coffee ice cream. And the only good coffee ice cream I've actually been able to taste so far is from Ben & Jerry's. So you might want to actually buy a small pint. It's about $7. I know it's expensive, but you can still use it. You don't need to put big spoonfuls on top of the actual dessert. A little taste, a little of everything actually goes quite far if you know how to actually use it. And on that, it's going to melt by the time you actually put it on. And when you do put it on, you'll have an extravagantly delicious dessert that's actually very cost efficient. You don't need much. All you need is just the ingredients. Look it up. You may have to look up the vid. I should start posting the ingredients when I actually do them. Let me know what you guys think. Because I never keep track of the ingredients. Unfortunately, that's not the way my brain works. But we'll talk to you later.